Digimon Super Rumble is a Digimon team / turn-based MMO in which you follow the story of the Digidestined from the original Season 1 from 1999 when Digimon first aired. It hosts a plethora of stunning and pleasing visuals as you dive right into the shoes of the original protagonists and aid their Digimon throughout the trials and troubles plaguing the digital world. You design your own tamer and collect Digimon as you progress through the game, following the enemy storyline in which you encounter many nods to the source material, whether that be seeing the locations of events throughout the anime, taking down the bad guys, and aiding many of the Digimon in the digital world. Currently, the climax to the Venom Myotismon arc has just ended in October this year, so there is plenty of content to keep you busy while we wait a few months for them to release the Dark Masters arc. There are currently hundreds of Digimon in the game to collect, and I have many guides in this game in English for those of you who might not understand Korean, as there is no current English patch for this game as of this moment of this recording, and we may be waiting a year or two till we get it. I am here today to tell you about Digimon Super Rumble and whether it might be potentially worth it to invest time into, and help you decide whether you should try Digimon Super Rumble going into 2024. With 2+ years of experience, hopefully I can give you the information you need to make your decision, especially if you're fed up and tired of DMO, and its horrible pay-to-win loot box gambling practices, which just ruined that game and ran it into the ground. Is Digimon Super Rumble different? Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about graphics. So visually, this game is very pleasing to the eye. As you can see, the designs of the Digimon are great. They have idle animations. Sometimes they'll do things when you stood around for long enough, like he did there, pointing. And they have gone into quite a bit of detail on many of the models. And it all contributes to making the Digimon feel alive. Like, he looks like a living, breathing Digimon. Look at him. Like, he just very slick, very nice detail on his skin, his body. It's like wet, as though he's been in water, but he's not in water, but he's Marine Devimon. And they really do add some character to them, such as his laugh right here. Here we have War Greymon's model, which looks fine and dandy as well, and the visuals in combat are also quite beautiful. So we're about to enter combat with this Mammothmon, just to let you see a little bit of how beautiful the game can be. Very nicely animated moves, as we can see here. Lots of visual flares, you can see, which does make combat feel very pleasing and satisfying, for sure. The design of the Digimon looks great in battle. And the backgrounds for every single fight is also based on the location you are at. So whether you are in terms of a particular map, depending what mob you fight, you'll have different backgrounds for your fights that you engage in, which is obviously very nice and a welcome addition for sure. Like, even the basic attacks have quite a bit of good animation to them. So graphically, this game is very pleasing. With all the wild Digimon running around, it really makes the place feel alive. And this basically keeps combat feeling very satisfying, especially when you're playing the game and, you know, you're murking up some Digimon that decide to get in your way, for example. And you feel like you need to teach them a lesson. As we can see, Venom Myotismon looks amazing as well. It really is quite astonishing. The animation for Digivolutions are also very beautiful and satisfying as well. As we can see here, look, how sick does that look and feel? It makes it feel so satisfying when you get a new Digivolution form, and while not every single Digivolution form is as detailed as this one, at the same time, they are still beautiful to see. Like, they definitely put a lot of love and care into the Digivolution animation. It actually makes it feel more personal whenever you attain a new form for the first time. And they also, just for the sake of it, allow you to replay the cutscenes so you can watch it anytime you want. And rewatch all your Digivolution lines that you've gone through throughout playing the game and what Digimon you've obtained. And honestly, it is a massive breath of fresh air. It truly is. And it's not just singular Digivolutions as well that are covered in this regard. Also, Jogrus as well, as we're about to see right here. So, Jogrus requires 2 Digivolutions, and even went above and beyond for this as well. Bruh. You just feel the love and the care and the detail, along with the graphical advancements as well of the game and how good the game looks. And you just see people standing around with all the Digimon everywhere, and people having the favourites behind them, or Digimon they're working on. So I could see somebody running around with an Agumon and think, oh, it might be a new player, and he could actually be like way better than you. Because he just enjoys running around with Agumon behind him. It makes it feel as though you actually have a party behind you. Which makes the world feel even more believable that we live in it. Some of the visuals can be stunningly impressive from place to place. And they really do a very good job to nail the atmosphere. This is the Infinite Mountain map, for example. And it really feels spooky, dark, and decrepit. A place where Devimon would dwell. Like a haunted looking house location, which feels very eerie to walk through. Or you head to the haunted church with a graveyard full of the Bakumons like they did in the Digimon Adventure anime. Here we have Meotismon's Dark Castle, and this also too looks amazing, and on top of also being quite a wonderful place to go to, you can seriously get some beautiful views in this game. Depending on what locations you go to, you can stare off into the horizon, and the world just feels so big and much larger than it actually is. And you feel like you're actually in the digital world. It just feels so fitting right now. It's dark. Near a spooky castle. Got Lady Devimon with me. Look at her. Just chilling. Like, just small things like this. Just running through the digital world. Seeing all these Gekomon. Prancing around. Nice and happy. Not a care in the world. Got beautiful butterflies. Got a giant river. Like, just little bits of detail like this that are just completely unnecessary, but have been done for the sake of enjoyment. Like, as you actually zoom in on the butterflies, they actually have quite a bit of detail into them, as we can see here. Not to mention my outfit that I'm wearing actually looks very nice as well. Almost like they put actual care and detail into the world that people are able to inhabit. And honestly makes me feel like I'm in a place where I want to be. Ah, breathtaking, isn't it? Such a nice, lovely, wonderful day. Wonderful view. Nice, soothing, delightful music. The soundtrack in this game is phenomenal. Throughout my time playing this game, I have loved the musical tracks from the different maps. I really do love the music in this game. It just feels so pleasant and fitting in so many scenarios, even when it comes to combat music. Hey. Tell me that's not a tune. funky music while you're in the middle of a fight. Like, come on, it just sounds so good. Like, listen to this in a park. This sounds like the happiest guy in the world's music, right? Uplifting, feels like I'm in a park, I'm having a wonderful time, and a beautiful area. There's Digimon everywhere, but it just feels so good, you know? Da 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 da. Tell me that music is not playing in like the happiest guy in the world's head. It's just that fantasy, lovely music, you know? But it fits. Just that music fits. It works. It does its job. It settles the atmosphere of where we are. You can see a pyramid off in the distance. But probably my favorite soundtrack in the game, honestly, coming to this area, you got the Gazimon. You know, they're horrible, they beat up the Koromon, they pick on them, they work for Edamon. Proper bad to the bone sort of Digimon. Look at the swagger that Gazimon just has. And then you get in a fight with him, and this. Tell me that's not bad to the bone villain arc music. It just feels fitting for the area and what we're up against. And I absolutely adore it. The reason why I bring this up is because honestly, it can make and break a game based on the soundtrack. So you've not only got nice visuals, which make the game look beautiful, the animations, the idle animations, the little bits of detail, but you've also got the music soundtrack that goes with it, and it really builds the world that you are a part of and makes you feel like you're actually in it. Like, no one wants to be running through Dark Souls and hearing "I'm a Barbie girl" in the background, you know? Like, it doesn't fit the memo of the mood and the setting of the game. But in this game, they've done a wonderful job of making sure all the music fits for the right maps, for the right occasions. And that's a big point in my book. Now we got the graphics out of the way and the soundtrack out of the way. What about the Digimon? Can't have a Digimon game without Digimon, right? That's what we're all here for at the end of the day. There are currently hundreds of Digimon in the game. These are all the Digimons that I currently have obtained in the game. And as you can see, I've still not even got all of them myself. And I've been playing this game for about 2 years. But as you can see, there are plenty of Digimon to keep you busy while we wait for the next story content. And you got plenty of Digimon to try and obtain and earn along the way, which is definitely a satisfying prospect. Every 2 weeks they update the game, so potentially we usually always get a new Digivolution line of some kind, whether it's 1 stage or 2, and because of that, there's always new Digimon to strive for. Like the recent update, we had a new Digimon come to the game called Godramon. And that just came this week. The week before that, there was another Digimon which came to the game, which was Marine Angemon and Neptunemon. Both very great Digimon, of course. And like I said, every 2 weeks they update the game, adding new Digimon to the game for you to obtain. But now, of course, you want to know, how do you get Digimon? What's the route that a person must take in order to attain more Digimon? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. All you essentially need are Digimon eggs. Now, this is not the same as DMO. You cannot farm specific eggs for specific Digimon. Instead, you have multiple different types of eggs in the game. You got the green egg, which hatches a baby Digimon. And the blue egg, which hatches an in-training. These are the two that you're most likely going to come across and obtain on a regular basis while playing through the game. Once you get around to basically around Server Desert area, you fight Digimon. There's a chance you can get a green egg or a mostly green. There's only specific Digimon which drop blue until you get further in, when a lot more start to drop it. And these two are going to be the main eggs that you essentially will be getting throughout your playing the game. Okay, well, we get that we need an egg in order to obtain Digimon. What do we do with it? There is a place known as the Digibaby Island in which you hatch eggs, where you have multiple baskets. You have a tree which you collect fruit from every single day. There is a chance you can get a Vmon egg through here, or a green or a blue egg. Vmon egg is incredibly rare, but it is a chance. This is not supposed to be here. This is a cash shop tree. And that I bought from the cash shop. We'll get into the cash shop shortly, don't worry. But essentially, this one is needed for Impmon. There's another tree which is needed specifically for Doraemon. Besides that, there's no cash shop exclusive eggs, really. And you can literally just buy these from players for about 2.6 mil. Which, when you basically get to the late game section of the game, you could farm multiple of these in a day. Like, it's really not a problem at all. As we can see, we got 0 out of 3 and 0 out of 5. So essentially, you play with them 3 times a day with toys. You grow this green bar. You can feed them up to 5 times a day. And each fruit that you give them has different stats it can give. For example, bananas are strength and speed. This is int and speed. Yada yada. Because I've got a cash shop tree, I'm getting a lot of these right now. But generally you'd be getting these, which are just as good. They're not as good as these ones. They're only a little bit less by 1 point. It's really not that big of a difference, trust me. So, essentially, when you feed these to your Digimon, you have a chance to impart stats onto them. So as we can see here, if we go to this, we see 25, 25, and everything else is 5. Well, that's because I've been giving HP and strength fruits to this guy. And this bar is filling up. So every single time you give him a piece of fruit, every single time you give him a toy, this bar moves along. That increases the chance of you transferring those stats to your Digimon. The reason that is important is because, essentially, you can make it so your Digimon start with bonus potential. In this case, I only have that plus 3%. You're seeing plus 8, but ignore that. That is literally coming from this Tetris spot system, which every Digimon does. The 3% is the potential. Now, your fruits basically give potential to your Digimon for a chance to transfer the stats from the fruit to it, which increases your stat total overall, which basically helps you have an easier time. It takes about 6 days to take a baby Digimon to a rookie Digimon. It takes about 3 days to get a blue egg, which will give you an in-training, to get a rookie Digimon from an in-training. However, when you get further into the game, you can then start to farm these 2 items. Effectively, cutting the amount of time you need to spend to obtain a new Digimon in half. So you could make the green egg now take you 4 days instead of 6. Not quite half, but near enough. And it'll still be 2 days for a in-training. There is, however, a caveat to this. There is no way to influence what Digimon you get out of the egg. Unless you get a very specific egg, such as the Impmon egg from this tree, the Vmon egg from this tree, or a Doraemon egg from another tree, generally you're going to be dealing with the random eggs, which are always going to be random in what they give you. So, if you hatch a green, you've got a chance of getting all the different baby Digimon, essentially. If you hatch a blue, you have a chance of getting all of the... Well, you basically get all of the in-training Digimon, you have a chance of getting one of them. You're like, okay, well, what's so bad about that? Well, this is where the game stunts you quite a bit. Is RNG chance. in what you obtain. So even if I get this baby Digimon, there's only 3 different paths I can go for. I would need to get a different baby Digimon, they've got their own paths they can go for. And many of them overlap. But let's say we went with Tanemon right here. Then from the in-training stage, it's random chance on what rookie I obtain. Now, if I was to choose Palmon, you can guarantee turn her into a champion Digimon by fighting Monzaemon. But let's say I got Mushroomon. He has multiple Digivolution paths too. And then this Digimon also has multiple Digivolution paths too. So there's a lot of RNG that plays into it. There are, however, ways to influence this. By fighting different Digimon in the game, or sacrificing Digimon back into an egg, you can potentially get cores. Now, you can only use 10 of these to increase the chance by 10%. However, rookie cores cannot be used to help you influence getting a rookie. These are used for potential only. Whereas the champion cores, they can be used, ultimate cores, etc. But you can only use 10. The way you get them is by fighting that specific Digimon which has support trait. So, if I wanted Datamon cores, I would find Datamon, kill Datamon. Datamon has a chance of dropping me the core. I farm them. And essentially I can make it so it's an easier chance of me getting Datamon from a Digivolution line that turns into it. However, there is also a 100% chance selector to make sure I definitely get the Digimon. However, these are limited in attainment. You get quite a few while going through the game, but once you've pretty much gotten all the ones while going through the game and doing all the dungeons of the day and whatnot, your main way of getting these is either by buying them from another player. Again, just grind for a day. You could afford about 2 of these at the late game grind spots. Or you wait for an event to come, which they often give us events quite often throughout the year, with a chance to obtain these as well as champion selectors. The only other option, of course, if you want to, you can pay for convenience on the cash shop and buy one with real world money. However, that's not all. Leveling skills is chance based as well. So, in order to get the cubes for each corresponding type, you generally have to fight that stage of Digivolution. For example, Marine Angemon is a Ultimate Digimon, so he needs Ultimate Cubes. I would need to farm Ultimate Digimon in order to attain Ultimate Cubes, so I can continue to raise his skills. There are items you can farm in game to help increase the chance. And essentially, you're going to be playing with a lot of RNG in that department for leveling skills, so you hit harder. Then, of course, there is also the Tetris system, which again, RNG, you spend bits, you roll, and your goal is to essentially get as many 4% as you can to get them as strong as possible. The problem is it's very expensive, it takes a lot of time, you see it's 50k, and this will generate 10 of them for me, and it's random what I get. And as you can see, they're at different stances and angles and things. So potentially, let's say I wanted this 4% int, but I knew I was going to, say, get rid of, I don't know, this 3%. I might consider it not worth it if it's at an angle which doesn't benefit me. Whereas I'd probably prefer something like this if I had it as a 4-1 instead. Because then that way I could make sure I get a 4%. Instead of just losing out completely on one of the squares. You can, however, get past 4%, but in order to do that, you got to play around with potential system and also farm books, which allow you to roll a 5% chance item, which essentially would show up here if you had one on your person. That would allow you to roll a 5% block, but it's random what it turns into. The only other way is through potential system, which allows you to strengthen a block from 4% to 5%, but it's very resource heavy. Sadly, this can lead to a little bit of heartbreak. The reason why, because let's say I got Patamon, right? And I really wanted the Magna Angemon line, and I was like, yes, my Patamon turned into Angemon. And then I could turn into Neo Devimon, or Meiotismon, which I might not want. Maybe I already have these Digimon and I don't want them. And sometimes the RNG just generally sucks, you know? When you've really been hurting trying to get a specific Digimon, you finally got it and you're training them up, and then you get something different, it can be quite infuriating. There's also Mutant Digimon, which are basically buffed up Super Digimon compared to their standard form, but they are limited in certain aspects. For example, they will never reach the same level of power as an Ultimate can. However, they can reach beyond their level cap, so Champion Digimon can only level up to 60 before they stop. They cannot go past level 60. If you was to get a Mutant Champion, you could actually level up to 80. Essentially, it gives you extra room to make that Digimon stronger, and it actually does have some benefits in some cases, as there is an EVP system which I am about to explain in a moment. Every single time you fight, you spend EVP when you're in a Digivolve state. Rookies, when they go into a fight and fight in rookie form, regenerate EVP. EVP is important because EVP allows you to maintain your Digivolution form in battle. Your EVP will not drain till you fight. But as you can see, my EVP just went up a little bit because I fought in rookie form. Champions consume basically 1% every time they fight, allowing them to essentially get 99 fights in. So having a Mutant Champion can be nice, because it's not as strong as an Ultimate is, it can't reach the same level of power, but it can stay at that cheap EVP cost and be strong enough to grind low level Digimon. However, as you go up in terms of Digivolution stage, the EVP cost also goes up every single time you fight. So Ultimates can get about 35 to 40 fights in before they run out of EVP. Megas can get about, let's say, about 30 fights in before they run out of EVP. Well, this essentially means that sometimes your gameplay will be interrupted because you need to get your EVP back. Because without EVP, you essentially can't fight higher level mobs, because they will essentially body you. For example, I can have a level 95 lovely Gaburimon, and I can fight a level 70 Chumon. Those Chumon have a chance of taking me down because I'm in rookie form. Assuming I don't kill them first, if they focus him, he's going to go down. So, despite that being another rookie Digimon like myself here, their stats are inflated because they are wild Digimon. So you kind of need to be in evolved states in order to actually fight them. And obviously, as you get further in the game, you're going to need to be at higher stages to do some content. Otherwise, you're going to lose. You're going to take too much damage, you're not going to deal enough damage back, and then you're going to start struggling. As we can see here, we have a little bit of information down here. So we can see that he is part of the NSO army, which if you played DMO, you'd be familiar with, you know, the different families of Digimon. And also, this means he is strong against cold and weak against earth. So if he gets hit by a cold attack, he's not going to take as much. But if he gets hit by a earth attack instead, he's going to take a lot more damage. Not only that, you also have to pay attention to the triangle system that we're all familiar with when it comes to Digimon. Virus is strong against Data, Data is strong against Vaccine, Vaccine is strong against Virus. This is very important in this game and basically can make and break a fight whether you succeed or lose late game. You need to counter the other types or you're going to deal less damage. Not only that, you have to also worry about the elemental affinity that they may be strong against to make sure you're not hitting them with a move they basically shrug off. In terms of viability when it comes to the Digimon, pretty much every Digimon in this game is viable and usable. At least as of when I'm making this recording right now. Who knows in the future. But right now, currently, every Digimon can be used to clear all the content currently in the game. In terms of the main story, there are, however, some Digimon that are really going to struggle at certain parts of the late game grinds when you're dealing with raid bosses and rift bosses and things. As there is kind of a system of there's some mons that are incredibly strong but slow. Some are decently strong but pretty quick. Some are very strong and quick. Some are more defensive but very weak in terms of damage they deal. There's lots of different variants in what types of Digimon you can get, and different stat spreads each Digimon has. So essentially, some Digimon are great for tanking, others not so much, because they're incredibly frail. Like for example, Edgemon is very strong for a champion stage. However, he is actually very frail. So he is a trade-off of being incredibly powerful, but he's like a glass cannon, where he can't really tank any hits from me, he's going to struggle. Also, my Airdramon here is actually a mutant. That I did intentionally, because you can force the mutation using the selector as well as choosing the Digivolution. And for me, the reason why I did it is because Gigadramon currently does not have a Mega Form. And let's get on to that subject. Some Digimon have been in the game for a very long time, and still haven't got a Digivolution path. Leomon basically waited like 2 years to finally get a Digivolution path for him, past Champion. Like, he couldn't go to Ultimate for like 2 years. And then they finally updated his line. Devidramon's been out for basically about 2 years as well. And Devidramon is another Digimon which never got an Ultimate. And still currently hasn't. Some Digimon will appear in the game and immediately get lines to Digivolve past their stage. Like, for example, Tapirmon immediately got added to the game and then got a champion as well as 2 ultimates. And because of this, it's kind of almost impossible to predict which Digimon is getting what form and know which Digimon you should have ready and prepared for when they eventually get their next Digivolution form. Because it does feel quite random. There is, however, a PvP system in this game that is completely separate from your main build of Digimon. As you can see, this is my PvE. This is my PvP. Every player has access to this, so every player is on the same equal footing. The only difference that comes into play is whether you have potential pieces from feeding fruits to your baby Digimon that can influence the fight, but every cube is 3% only, so nobody can ever pay to win you in terms of PvP. It's all perfectly balanced. You just need to make sure you get your potential, which is RNG. Even if you just gave them nothing but strength and speed fruits, for example, you're not guaranteed to get strength and speed. It's still chance based, because as you saw earlier, there was that 5 number on every stat, having a base stat total of 5. There's a chance it could go into one of those stats instead. So you will need 0 units, which you can farm by doing Dungeons of the Day, which you get keys for every single day once you complete all the quests in a certain area. And I think that's Digimon covered for now, in terms of Digimon in the game, where we can currently reach. Are there any Digimon that are so much better that others aren't worth using? Are there some Digimon that just can't be used? I feel like we covered all that, how to get Digimon, so let's move on next. There is a crafting system in game which actually does come into play and is quite important throughout your journey. I have lots of recipes here that I found in game, also got a bunch of them from leveling my crafting skill and whatnot. I have guides on all this stuff and how to level your crafting and whatnot if you decide to pick up the game. But essentially, crafting plays an integral part. For example, unless you have 135 crafting, you can't use this recipe to craft a Machine Dramon part to obtain Machine Dramon, as some Digimon do require parts to obtain. I basically farmed all of these myself in order to make this Digimon, and it did take me a while to do, But the reason why it's very important is because essentially in order to reach Mega Digivolution, you need an Evolutor, which you craft with 0 units, which you farm from the Dungeons of the Day. And essentially this will allow you to obtain a Mega Digimon if you have one of these. You need about 120 crafting to even learn the recipe. And you need to progress through the story to also get the recipe as well. So crafting also takes a big play and part into it. But the good thing is about crafting is once it's done, right? You don't really have to worry anymore. Once you reach a certain stage, you just get to that stage, you're nice and happy and comfortable that you want to be at. 135, I'm happy where I am currently. I'll level naturally through farming ultimate cubes and turning them into mega cubes. So it's no big deal for me. I've achieved the stage I needed to because I got myself a machine Dramon. So do bear in mind, you will have to do the crafting, which involves farming parts from Digimon, farming drops from Digimon, things of that nature in order to craft new items with to level this crafting skill. There is a Season Pass in Digimon Super Rumble. Season Passes are very nice because the free rewards are actually great. Obviously the paid rewards are going to be better, but essentially you can get a myriad of great rewards. While doing this Season Pass, it's completely free to do. And the best part is, if I got to stage 30, in terms of doing all my daily quests every single day, I could then just buy it, because I know I'm going to get the final reward, and I get all of the membership as well. You do not have to have the membership to level that up. The level counts for them both. Just you need to obviously have the paid version in order to get this. And you can buy that from another player for a couple mil. It's really not too hard. And you can get 153-hour egg, which are very nice eggs that you really, really want. Because they essentially allow you to have pretty much maximum potential, and you get to put 2 stats at 12% and a 4% in another place. Which basically means your Digimon is pretty much at its prime that it can reach. In terms of content, there's a lot of content to do. There's lots of quests. There's a couple hundred quests. You got achievements for fighting certain amount of numbers of Digimon and doing various tasks within the game. So you've got plenty to keep you busy and essentially give you an enjoyable time while you're playing through the game. But every zone is its own quests that are main quests, sub-quests, and there are hundreds of them, honestly, which will definitely keep you very busy while you're going through the game, of course, which is always a wonderful thing to have, as we can see here. All those quests, and all the achievements. There are so many achievements in this game. You also have Rift items, which can summon portals to fight certain boss Digimon in reference to the area. For example, this will summon Devimon or Leomon. It's the Infinite Mountain Rift Detector, which basically means I can fight them and farm them, and they can give drops which are needed for obtaining certain Digimon, things of that nature. You've obviously got cubes that you gotta farm, so obviously level your Digimon skills up. Bits you need to farm. There's Dungeons of the Day you unlock keys for every single day to challenge and get lots of good rewards, which are very useful and helpful to you progressing. And there are actually little blue cubes hidden around every single map that you can try and farm for basically a fun little treasure hunt, so to speak. We also have raids which appear at certain times of the day every single day, which you can challenge and basically try and compete in a leaderboard, similar to DMO's raids, essentially. Digimon shows up in an area, you have 3 chances to fight it, and this is kind of like an end game thing, you know, you want to try and rank high on these to essentially get high in the leaderboard, something to aim towards. Altogether, there's roughly around 16 maps in the game. You got some dungeons and things that you can go to, such as Meowtismon's castle and things, as well as different locations you would go through throughout the Digimon anime. So there's plenty of maps to explore with Digimon spread throughout in order for you to fight them, find whatever parts you want, any bits that you need, and generally just have fun playing Digimon. There is also a guild system in the game where essentially you can join a guild. Currently, unfortunately, as sad to say as it is, there's no current guild content to really do. You can party up with other players and fight with them. Your team will be split up between your team and theirs. For example, if you had 3 people, someone's going to be using 2 Digimon, someone's going to be using 1 because we fight in teams of 3. But if you had 3 different tamers, you'd each use 1 Digimon each. You gain bonus XP from this, but there's no content for players to do grouped up together currently, which is quite upsetting considering this is a MMO. Keyword, massive multiplayer online game. But yeah, there's not really anything to really do multiplayer that is super beneficial. There's no group raids, dungeons, anything that people can do together. You can quest together though. You can go through the game doing quests with each other. That's perfectly capable as something you can do. You can help other players out if they're struggling with a certain fight. You could offer to lend your hand with your Digimon. But that's about it currently in terms of group content, unfortunately. And that's really disappointing. I also forgot to mention when talking about the EVP system, how much of a pain in the butt it actually is. Well, essentially, if I went to go from an empty EVP bar to a full EVP bar, it's going to run me about 30 minutes worth of time. Most people AFK at spots known as Digimon spots, and go do something in the house while they're at it, while these aggressive red named Digimon keep running at you and they will fight you, force you into a fight, you Digimon defeat them, your EVP goes back up, and you can basically get it back AFK. Which can be, of course, very handy when you're, say, wanting to get Digimon put together, but you can't play currently. You want to make sure you get your team ready for playing when you're ready to come back to the game and whatnot. You just, you have to be online, by the way. You can't do it offline. But you essentially just stand here like this, wait for a Digimon to run at you. You force a Digimon into a fight. EVP comes back, and you don't have to lift a finger. As you saw there, it just ran towards me. Now, when you get late game, you can actually buy EVP chips and be able to still make profit. But until late game, you're going to be struggling to do so. Because, let's say I wanted to restore all 3 of my Digimon from 0 EVP to full. It's about 145k bits. That's not taking into consideration using food items to heal your Digimon and restore their HP, or their SP, basically MP in video game terms. It adds up quite a bit, and obviously the higher level mobs you fight in the late game areas you reach, the more money you make. But in the early portions of the game, you're not going to earn enough to make it worthwhile. So, throughout most of the early game, you're going to have a bit of a fun time. When you're in Champion, you got 99 fights, it's great, yeah! 99 fights, I'm playing for about an hour and a half, then I need to get EVP back. But then you get to Ultimate, which is about 35 to 40 fights. So I could be playing for about 20-30 minutes, then I have to disappear for 20-30 minutes, because I have to wait for my EVP to come back, just to carry on questing, or doing whatever it were I was trying to do, whether it's farming, yada yada, grinding Digimon up in levels, etc, etc. And then obviously Megas consume even more EVP, so then you're getting even less fights in, which makes it even worse. Well, thankfully, by the time you're at Mega stage, you'll earn more than enough bits to pay for the EVP chips and have plenty of money left over, so you never have to bother with the Digimon again if you don't want to. Still advised, if you go in AFK for 30 minutes, leave your Digimon there while they restore EVP so they're in fighting shape when you come back. Now for the elephant in the room, the cash shop. I hear many of you going, oh no, not a cash shop. I don't blame you. However, thankfully this cash shop is pay for convenience, rather than pay to win. What do I mean by this? Well, pretty much 90% of the things on this store you could get in-game by farming. You could buy them from other players. There is a market in-game, sort of like an auction house, where players sell items. So you don't need the cash shop. It's convenient to use it if you want to save some time. You can get a guaranteed champion selector or ultimate selector to save you some time. Make sure you get the right Digimon you want. Convenience. But I can just buy one of these from another player. I generally can get these by logging in every single day and doing the time login rewards, which requires you to be on 3 hours every single day. And they give you different rewards throughout the week. So I can pretty much get everything, but at a slower rate than, say, opening my wallet. Which means no whales can outpower me. I can reach the same strength as they can, I've just got to spend that extra time. They basically get a shortcut, but they can't reach a stage that I can't. Meaning, it's always viable for me to catch up to them and actually beat them. Which is wonderful. Many of you are wondering, well, DMO's cash shop had loot boxes. Does this game have loot boxes? It never used to, but technically it does right now. This tree here, the Tree of Gluttony, which you see I have on my Digibaby Island, is technically a loot box. You have 10 loots of the tree before it disappears. It gives you bonus premium fruits, and there's a chance of giving you the Impmon egg. Each tree is 4%. It's 0.4% chance each time you loot a tree. Meaning after 10, that's 4% per tree. To get an Impmon egg. Same thing is also for the Doraemon egg. However, these are the only 2 eggs that you can't get through normal means. As well as Vmon, but Vmon's a special case. Unfortunately, it is a loot box. However, I could easily farm enough bits to buy about 5 of these in a day. It's really not a problem. It's really not. If I just put in the time and dedication, I want to spend the hours, I could easily do it. Now, Vmon you get from the tree in Digibaby Island that's naturally there. The only other way to get Vmon, again, buy it from another player who's managed to get it to drop from the tree. Or you have to finish the story, which allows you to essentially open a store with Boncho Leomon and Cherrymon. And you trade Boncho Leomon eggs every single day for currency, which allows you to buy a Vmon egg. That's not cash shop related though. That's completely normal, obtainable in-game. There is, however, something that is a bit cash shop orientated, and as you can see, there's 2 egg things right here. You can basically buy a 153-hour egg from here with maximum potential. But players sell those on the market. Every 2 weeks when the game updates, you get 2 new eggs in rotation. These will hatch a specific rookie Digimon, depending what egg it is. Now, in order to find out what this Digimon is, I would need to translate it, of course. But every 2 weeks, this rotation changes on what eggs are available. So if you really want to support the game, and spend some crowns, and get a specific rookie you want, you can do. The thing I like about Digimon Super Rumble is, they're not saying you have to give me money. They're saying you can give me money, and that's the way I like it. It's on the list, mandatory give me money or else. Which is a common theme in DMO. I mean, yes, you could technically say, well, the trees kind of give me money, and those eggs to guarantee rookies are kind of give me money. But again, I can ban them from another player, and it's not that expensive. In terms of the content you can do in this game, you can do 100% of it without ever needing to touch the cash shop. Which in my book is a big win. Cosmetics and outfits are, of course, cosmetic only. Another win. However, there is a little bit of an advantage you can get through the cash shop. And that is essentially the vials. You can get a vial which lasts for 30 days. Players cannot sell the 30-day one, they can only sell the 15-day one. And essentially it will contain all the vials, which basically allow you to cut EVP usage in half. Meaning you can farm for longer for having to regenerate EVP. Move faster, auto pickup, XP amount, drop chance increase, money increase, battle speed increase. Now you can get these vials from the daily login stuff, but they do not last for 30 days. So essentially, that is one advantage to the cash shop, but again, I can buy the 15-day one from other players, and that's fine by me. Some of you might be saying, well, you had crowns. If you don't need to spend on the game, why have you? And that's because I enjoyed the game. I chose to support the game. And that's the way it should be. I choose to support the game. Not the game saying you have to support me and pay me money, or you can't do anything. So that is one great thing about Digimon Super Rumble, is you have the option to support the game. But you're not mandatory having to do it. Another thing to know is this game is very grind heavy. Meaning you will have to do a lot of grinding in this game. But it's not a pointless grind. If I was to try and akin it to something, think RuneScape. If any of you know RuneScape. Essentially, you put in the time, you get rewarded, and that allows you to further your account. For example, currently in terms of progress for me, I'm at the point of getting my Mega Digimon and trying to max them out and get all the skills that I want, maxed out on all the new Digimon that I keep getting. And it's a goal to work towards, and it will pay off because it allows me to do the harder content, allows me to farm more efficiently and faster, which means I make more money, meaning I pretty much will always have a stream of revenue I can rely on. And I can just get these boosts from players all the time and never have to worry about crowns. You don't even have to worry about them in the first place. It's just nice to have the boost, of course. It's a bit of an advantage, yes. But the fact that I could buy these boosts from another player, no problem, is fine by me. And it's really not hard to earn money and earn enough to be able to do so. Currently, there is an event going on which is giving 100% bonus experience, meaning Digimon are getting 2 times the amount of experience in-game currently, which means you can level your Digimon really fast, which is absolutely amazing, of course. So if you do decide to sign up for Digimon Super Rumble, I have a guide on how to on my channel, you'll be earning 100% XP boost, and it's going to last you another, well, by the time it goes up, say 17 days, because I'll be releasing this for New Year. But it will allow you to get in a massive head start, and also if you check out my guides, that will also help you as well, because you'll know what you're doing. I explain pretty much 90% of the processes in the game that you need to know about in English, so it's easy to understand, so you don't have to worry about the Korean alphabet. So currently, as it stands, there is easily months worth of combat for you to do, essentially. This game could keep you busy for a couple months, which will allow you to really enjoy your time in the game. Take your time with it, collect Digimon, try and get Digimon you want, and just have a blast is basically the main incentive with this game. Getting late game farm teams set up is something you need to worry about late game, but throughout most of the game, any Digimon can pretty much do anything you want. As long as you counter the enemy type, you're going to be having a good time. Many of you might also have a question now, well, if I've been playing for 2 years, why is it I've not got all my Digimon maxed? And the simple answer to that question is, I've had more than one account. You see, back when Digimon Super Rumble was released, you essentially had to buy a account because you needed a Korean phone number to sign up for the game. The problem is, Korean phone numbers are connected to a person's ID, so unless you're a Korean citizen, you can't really get one. Which means you would have to buy an account. Now, we Westerners basically came along and was like, we want to play it, it's Digimon. I love Digimon, you know, it's a Digimon MMO, it looks good, the graphics look great. I want to try it out, see how good it is. I hate DMO, I want a new Digimon MMO, I want a new Digimon game to play, I want that itch to be scratched. And movegames essentially smiled and went, okay, we understand what you're doing. We're not too happy about it. We're not going to ban you. What we're going to do instead is we're going to accommodate you. And they made it so as long as you have a Gmail account, you can sign up for the game. They did add a VPN requirement at some point to the game when they added the ability for people to buy crowns overseas, because people were also buying crowns through third-party sites because they couldn't buy crowns previously. They added that addition to the game so that foreigners could also buy crowns, and they had to, for licensing reasons, is what the community speculates, put up the VPN, but they've removed it now. There is no VPN requirement. It is staying gone. So you can sign up for this game anytime. And when they added the ability for you to make your own account, I made a new one. I rushed through the game in about 14 days because I already knew everything that I needed to do. Now, I also create content for other games as well, not just Digimon Super Rumble, so that slowed me down quite a bit. And on top of that, I've been playing about 4 months to catch up on this account, as when I originally made my new account, I rushed through the game in about 14 days, because I knew where to go, all the grind spots, how to level my Digimon. I pretty much knew what I was doing. So it took me 40 days to get through, but then I took a 6 to 8 month break from the game, because I was basically making content for other games as well, and decided to turn my streams into episodes for the sake of a playthrough on the channel so people could watch it in easier to digest content. So essentially what that basically means is I've spent about 4 months grinding this game, playing catch up, and essentially I'm at the point where I can farm any late game spot. I've got late game teams set up for multiple different farming spots, for farming bits, items, etc. So honestly, if you really put in the time and investment, you can easily basically make it so that you can get up to the point where everybody else is at. Because at the end of the day, people want to be able to farm the late game spots. Now, I'm not farming a late game spot currently, as you can see in this footage. I'm farming Devimon Wrist because currently there is an arm which is needed for Chimeramon that is coming to the game soon. So I'm currently in the middle of farming parts, so there's plenty of actual grinding spots as well. They can also be farmed mid-game to earn you a lot of money if you wanted to, because you can sell these parts to these Digimon for quite a lot of money. So, with that said, I think it's time we actually get onto the discussion. Should you sign up for Digimon Super Rumble and actually finally make a decision? I'm going to weigh some pros and cons of the game, so you can make an informed decision yourself on whether you want to sign up for the game and play it, because it is honestly a fantastic game that I very much enjoy. Pros. In terms of content, there is months of content to keep you busy while we wait for the next stage of the story content to come to the game, which will give us the Dark Masters arc, with Digimon such as Omegamon and others coming to the game. Hundreds of Digimon to collect and Digivolve, achieving all the different Digivolution paths. And late game raids, bosses, dungeons, and everything can be accomplished in the game without a paywall, as there is no gated content in this game that requires you to spend money. Not only that, they constantly update the game every 2 weeks, meaning there is always something new coming to the game for you to play around with, new events always being added to the game all the time, so you will very rarely ever get bored, and that's obviously a big win. Graphics. There is a lot of stunning visuals in this game. The designs for many Digimon are superb and very well done. The locations feel alive and vibrant, and the game devs do a great job to keep this game looking great, even on the lowest graphic settings that I currently play on. Cash Shop. The cash shop, while it does exist in the game, is a bane for a lot of players. A lot of players hate cash shops in games. Essentially, in this game, the cash shop isn't very predatory. Honestly, the deals are plenty fine, and it is really paid for convenience rather than actually being paid to win. While you can get some advantages which people consider pay to win, it's really not that big of a deal in this game, as everything can be earned with just a few hours of grinding, and you can buy any of those items that you want. Battle system. The team-based battle system feels very satisfying as you mix and match many Digimon in your team for different situations and mons you may fight and grind against, which means while you won't always just be using the same mon all the time, which can help keep it fresh, especially when paired with the visuals. This and every Digimon having individual moves which are unique in appearance can help keep the game feeling very satisfying, especially when you're playing for long periods of time. Digimon. You can't have a Digimon game without Digimon, and this game does a great job with having hundreds of collects, with more being added constantly. Every 2 weeks with new paths and Digivolutions. And all of them look great and superb, and all come with fully fleshed out moves, with different visuals, which obviously keeps things very exciting whenever you attain a new mon that you haven't gotten for the first time. Cons. The cash shop is also a con because many players don't like them, but at the same time it is a free-to-play MMO, so they have to bring revenue from somewhere. That being said, people still consider pay for convenience to be pay to win for some people, so it could make or break a game, but in my opinion it's really not too bad, but still a con nevertheless. Grindy. Depending on what type of player you are, grinding games might not be up your alley. Many have lives and jobs and don't have the time to dedicate to an MMO, so if you're looking for a game that doesn't require you to spend hours playing the game and grind, this game might not be for you. Digimon and the bond system. While I never covered the bond system, it is a part of the game as some Digimon require bonds for certain Mega Digivolutions and also geographies. It takes up to 1,000 individual fights to get 1%, and some Digimon can require up to 14%. Due to this, many opt to sit a Digimon, which does affect the game and make it feel more dead, as many go AFK for hours at these spots, which means you don't see many players running around, which can make the game feel empty in terms of players. That and the EVP system can easily drain your time of playing if you're not late game, as having to sit for 30 minutes at the mouse can get very tiring and tedious when all you want to do is play the game, and it can ruin the immersion and fun that you have. Cons. The RNG system in the game does sometimes lead to frustrating moments. There's no way to influence baby and in-training Digimon and which rookie you get. It can sometimes lead to you repeatedly getting mons you already have, which can be really upsetting when there's a mon you're trying to get, as they just got a new path or Digivolution you might really want, or just be a Digimon that you don't have, and the longer you play and the more Digimon you attain, it only gets worse, because when you've got a most Digimon and there's that one you need that you haven't gotten, and the fact you spent 15 days to get a new Digimon, just for it to turn into your 15th Gotsumon, and due to the new Digimon potentially getting added all the time, which means you get more Digimon put into that pool of potential Digimon you could obtain, it can seriously lead to some frustrating and upsetting moments at times, and that is only carried on then through obviously Champion, Ultimate, Mega, which also have a lot of RNG chances when there's multiple Digimon within that line, which means you basically need a selector or just hope you get lucky, and sometimes you could go through a whole entire Digimon line just to not get the mon that you were after, as the Dig evolves into something else completely different. The lack of multiplayer incentive in content. Due to the lack of systems in place for cooperative play, most just play this game solo. With the game being out for a year since its official release in Korea, there is no excuse for us to not have any group content in the game right now. Maybe further down the line they will add some, but the fact that this is a massive multiplayer online game with no multiplayer is definitely disappointing. While yes, you can join up in a party and play with friends, there's not really any point to do so. Money sinks. There are a lot of bit sync systems in this game, meaning a lot of your money is going to be spent constantly as you try to level skills, feed your Digimon, buy toys for your baby Digimon, and play with the Tetris system to make your Digimon stronger, as the RNG side of things can easily lead to you spending millions sometimes when you're trying to attain that stat that you need, or skill level you want to reach. And due to Mega Digimon requiring certain stat requirements, it can sometimes be feeling quite frustrating. All in all, Digimon Super Rumble has thousands upon thousands of hours of content to do, and is a very enjoyable game to play, despite its cons which drag the game down slightly. If you're looking for that next Digimon itch to be scratched, this game could definitely be the one for you. Despite it being only in Korean, I have tons of English guides on the game and systems, and there is an amazing English community Discord you can join with thousands of like-minded and knowledgeable players to help you if you ever get stuck, so the Korean language barrier is a very minor inconvenience. With that said, if you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you running around in Digimon Super Rumble in 2024. Thank you very much guys for watching, I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace. Have you seen me and my team? Lots of monsters here rocking with me. The digital, yeah, that's for sure. But I'm coming in with a dragon's roar. Across the skies, yeah, I'll soar. Kinoki falls back and coming for more. You don't want to see his hands on my Dreamon claws, blowing you back with a terror force.